All right, hello everybody. Zaxter99 back with another indie game first look, and this should be an interesting game, guys, because this is a game brought to us by a developer named Exo Games. Now, you guys might remember some drama I had with him last summer when I called out one of his asset flips. Exo Games here, yeah, I had called out Fun Platformer, this one right here, for being the asset flip that it is. And this game was an asset flip. You can see my negative review. And that sparked this developer, this solo indie developer, to leaving negative reviews on three of my own games, including Nerm the Worm. I know he left a negative review on at the time, my most recent game, Vector Z, which I was able to fight and get a Steam moderator to delete because I was able to prove that it was a retaliatory negative review on Vector Z. But for some reason, Steam didn't remove the negative reviews that he left for Nerm the Worm and my Poggers game. As you can see here, this is the same developer, which I proved in a video in the last summer drama. This is the same guy as Exo Games. He says it's a ripoff. There are better Worm games out there, and he hasn't removed the game. Fortunately, not that many people have found the review helpful, probably just himself. When I proved that, this is not even an honest review, it's just a retaliation review. And he did the same thing on my Poggers game as well, and again on a third game, Vector Z, which I was able to get Steam to remove because somebody saw that it was a retaliation type of review. So now we're going to take a look at the same developer's most recent title, a game. By looking at it, you can see that it looks pretty bad. Looking at the trailer, Survive the Forest. And remember, guys, that I am no longer doing miss videos, my maggot infested stinky shit, where I call out some of the worst stuff on Steam. And remember, I've said time and time again that the Unreal Engine, people who use the Unreal Engine and don't know how to use it properly, put out some of the worst games on Steam. Like, some of the worst games I've seen definitely use the Unreal Engine, much worse than like Game Crew games and Unity games and stuff like that by a long stretch. And this looks like it might be one of those types of games looking at the trailer. But remember, guys, I'm no longer throwing solo indie developers under the bus. I'm no longer calling out asset flips and asset trash and stuff like that. My miss videos are... I'll still make miss videos, but I want to try to be a lot more constructive at this point. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at Exo Games, the guy that gets really angry when his games get called out. And let's see if we can find some positive in what we're looking at here. So we'll be back to take a look at Survive the Forest, and we'll do that right after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. So I want to go ahead and show you guys exactly what happens when we play Survive the Forest from the point that we hit the play button. So you guys see it firsthand. So this is what we see. We're seeing the world load in really slowly here. Textures loading, etc. So we have Play Game made in Unreal 5, which I got to give the developer credit for making the game in the most current build of the Unreal Engine. The Unreal 5 engine is so impressive. I can't even begin to see that. So we have an option video. What the hell is this? Oh, there we go. Okay. Graphics overall, ultra. Now, guys, in these Unreal games, I don't know why they don't have motion blur, because most of these Unreal games do have motion blur, but motion blur is always tied into this post-process quality, and this is like a default menu here in the Unreal Engine, so this is nothing the developer has made himself. But turn this post-processing all the way down to low if you want to turn down motion blur as low as you can. Otherwise, you're probably going to have a ton of motion blur. And I love to see indie developers making indie games in the Unreal Engine that actually break out of this default menu system and actually let us control the motion blur manually. And it's also nice to see it when the motion blur is turned off by default. So we're going to go ahead, there is no apply or anything like that. Let's go ahead and go back. Let's make sure that it did stick, so that's good. So we'll go ahead and go back. We'll go back. And notice here there are no audio options at all. So that's kind of disappointing. So he does have his update logs, December 20. So he has updated the game a couple of times, it looks like. He's going 1.1, 1.2 each time. Alright, let's go ahead and check that setting just to make sure everything's still sticking. Okay, we're good. Just wanted to make sure. Alright, let's play the game. So we have one map, forest map. And we do have a loading. So let's, I mean, that's what you would expect from an indie solo developed game in the Unreal Engine. Alright, so again, that post-processing setting that we turned low is going to have a lot of different stuff in it, and I would like to see more indie developers break that down and actually break those settings in, individually out, so it's not all grouped into one setting. Alright. So the game seems to be performing really well right off the bat. To Exo Games, the developer, when you show the coordinates there on the bottom left, it's going to look a lot neater. First of all, you have like a black line behind those numbers, so they're a lot more readable. Kind of like you have the black bar behind your three numbers there, the 93, 93, and 100. I assume the 100 is our health. But yeah, if you put a black line behind those white coordinates, that would help as well. But then I would also... Oh, that's not decimals. Wait a minute. It is decimals. Yeah, there's like a 0.192. So I would round those numbers to make them look a lot less sloppy. When you have such long numbers down there, it kind of gives off the impression that the game is kind of sloppy. The players aren't going to need the numbers to be that precise. Just like X being 60,679 is plenty detailed. Alright. So we can press E or B on the controller. Another recommendation to you Exo Games would be to have the game detect whether you're using a mouse or keyboard. I know I do this in my own games that I make. Basically, you have a variable set to, whether you're using, like, controller, variable controller use, whatever, make it be a global variable. And if you touch any controller button, then the controller is set to on. If you're using mouse and keyboard, to move around, then that variable is set to false. And then that way, when you print this up to the screen, if the variable is false for the controller, then you're only printing press E. And if you're using controller, then that's when you print on the screen the B button, right? So that way you're not giving the player press this keyboard or this button on the controller. What if I don't even have a controller? Or, whatever. Then I've got unneeded information on the screen and it looks lazy. And so hopefully that'll help you make your game look a little bit better. Just simply having a simple variable to detect whether the player, is using a mouse or a keyboard. So we're going to go ahead and hit E. I don't know why I had this can here targeted. I hit E and it picked up this can way over here. So your targeting seems to be a little bit off. So like right now I'm hitting the E button and I'm not picking up that can. There we go. I need to be closer. Again, you saw my targeting on this can here and it picked up the one way over here. So this, just this targeting needs a little bit of work for sure. So it definitely needs some work, man. I do like how fast the game is moving though. I don't know why we can't. Son, me and your mother are going to the northern lands. We're going to try to find out what happened. What caused the outbreak? There will be things to do. Okay, so you got some grammar problems here. You don't have spaces here. What caused? There's no space. There's no space between outbreak and there. You have no period. Son, me and your mother are going to the northern lands. There should be a period right there. There should be a capital W. We are going to try to find out what happened, what caused the outbreak. There will be things for you to do. If spelled wrong, if you go outside. So, Exo Games, this just comes off extremely lazy, like you're in way too big of a hurry to print this stuff. You need to have somebody either help you with your grammar here, So you make this sound a lot better and more professional, and also so the grammar's well. So you have a run-on sentence here. You have no periods at all when this should be like four sentences. You have no like question mark or period at the end here. Um, you have no comma here. So if you're saying sun, there should be a comma here. This just looks horrible. And I know you're from the USA from past experience. And when I read this, it makes it look like you're from a different country and you don't speak English well at all. So if you don't know how to write proper English, definitely get somebody to help you, your parents, somebody that speaks better English, because this looks really bad. It makes it look like you're a Russian developer that doesn't know English very well. Okay? So again, I'm trying to be constructive, guys. I'm trying to help this guy out, pointing out some things that he needs to rework. Okay. So you are dead and respawned. Okay, so I think you mean respawn? S-P-A-W-N? Respawned? That makes no sense at all. Again, you need somebody to help you out with your English grammar, brah. Because anybody that plays this game is going to be immediately turned off by what I'm seeing here. Especially the grammar part. And, I mean, you're from America. You shouldn't be looking like you're from Bangladesh and you don't know. Why am I seeing plus 50 wood? What the hell was that? So the game blurs out and I take down a tree? Okay. I get that you're trying to find a shortcut because you don't want to show the animation of the tree falling down, and so you're just blurring it out. But again, this comes off extremely lazy, my dude. I don't like this blurring at all. I would much rather just see the tree disappear than to see this blurring effect. That's terrible. Do away with that blurring effect. Just make the tree disappear. It would look 10 times better than what you have here. If you're not going to make the tree actually fall down or show any kind of animation of chopping the tree or whatever, but why not just get an animation for somebody chopping a tree down with an axe instead of just, dude, my dude, you gotta know better than this. This looks and plays horribly. Alright, let's try to be constructive here, guys. Why are we getting wood and everything? So I hit the tab button, I have forest map, I have northern lands map, and I have island map. How come these maps weren't available from the main menu? Because all I had was forest map available from the main when I entered the game. Can I go? So I go to the northern... Yeah, how come these other maps aren't available from the main menu? And what the hell kind of stretched out texture is this, bro? This looks terrible, man. We have no crouch. I have no crouch button. We have a terrible land texture here. And it looks like we have buildings up in the air. Whoa. So to get those maps, I did have island map. Let's take a look at this. So you can immediately just go to any map without needing to go to a boat or going through a portal or anything like that. I'm not sure I like that. I think that you should have to find a portal or something that takes you to these new maps. Not just be able to hit the tab key and go to any map you want immediately. Okay. So I don't have I can't look through a scope or anything like that with the right mouse button. Of course, this gun doesn't have a scope on it, and I don't know why. What the hell? So I hit tab again, I got the temperature, I got the time and the date. That's all fine, but this information on the date and time and stuff like that, it's kind of in the middle of the, like, this, if you're going to have this information, I would put this information up in the top right corner, not just sitting down here, kind of in, it's not in the middle, but this could definitely be, it would look neater if it was further, cornered up here. We have 550 ammo, we have 50 loaded into their gun, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, man. Yeah, but definitely get somebody to help you with your English grammar on what you're trying to say so that it's not putting off so many people, like, right away, because that just looks so bad. And hopefully you can take the stuff... The reason I'm giving you this information, Exo Games, is because I'm genuinely trying to help you. I'm not trying to tear you down, but that blood spray looked pretty cool. Okay. And it's pretty cool that he got behind a building to, like, hide. That's pretty good AI. I like that. I don't know if that's an asset you bought or what. But... Okay, the enemy going back in the water like that is kind of dumb. I do like the blood spray. You do actually have clouds moving across the sky. That's pretty impressive. I'd like to see that. I'm assuming if I touch the water, I'm going to die. Yeah. So, touching the water and dying is bad. That shows more laziness. A lazily developed game, so I would definitely fix that, and if you have to get a swimming animation or something, I don't know. But just touching the water and dying doesn't make any sense, especially in a game like this where you have an open world. And especially if the enemies can get in the water, why can't we? You know, it doesn't make any sense. So I would definitely make it so you can swim, or go underwater or whatever. So these enemies are running from me rather than initiating combat when they're 2-to-1. That's kind of odd. Like, they should be more aggressive. I think you should definitely make them, like, hide and fire at me. Like, I get they're trying to run behind a building, but once they get behind a building, they should be, like, peeking out around the corner and trying to hit me. Instead of running around the corner, going over there and standing still like a couple of completely low IQ bots. Yeah. At least they fired right there. At least when you fire at them, they do fire back. Okay, so our health is 93 now. Do they have any loot? No. So our enemies, how come I can't get their ammo or their gun or anything like that? And we need to fix the enemies, like, moving. I don't know how you do this in the Unreal Engine, but we need to figure out a way to keep them... Because this comes off as extremely lazy as well, and I know these are assets that you got, and using assets is completely fine. But you need to figure out a way that when I shoot these guys, we're not seeing their body parts twitch indefinitely like this. And the ragdoll physics are kind of bad as well. I mean, this guy looks completely disjointed, and this just looks bad, especially when, you know, when it looks like their legs... I'm sure their feet do this when they're running. You know, that's probably part of the assets of run animation, and it just continues to move. But yeah, this looks bad, man. This looks, again, like extremely lazy development. And again, I'm not going to leave a negative review for you on Steam, because there's no reason to. But I haven't looked at the reviews, you know, for the game. I think I had 2 or 3. But I'm guessing that this game is going to get negative reviews because of what I'm seeing here. Yeah, I'm not going to do you that disservice. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make you a brutally honest video, looking at your game, and trying to give you and show you the things that you need to fix in the game to make it better. Okay, so I can't help you make your game better if I don't point out the things that are wrong, right? Oh, there's our enemies, okay. So the enemies don't know how to come up this cliff. They're dropping loot boxes. Do they know? Oh, they do know a way up around, okay. What did I pick up? It doesn't tell me what I picked up. Okay, there's really no challenge here. This game is far too easy, especially starting out. Oh, 3 metal, okay. These enemies are dropping metal. They all drop exactly the same amount of metal. Okay. Again, to the developer Exo Games here. I've asked this question a million times to indie developers in the past. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get away from all these brain dead zombies. And so we can actually hear my voice. And what I want to ask you, Mr. Exo Games, is first of all, I want to go ahead and give you the positive. I believe I saw a couple of videos on your YouTube channel where you were actually like making these maps, and if you actually, it looks like you might have made this map yourself. So very well done. I like the map you've drawn, even though this is like a stretched out terrain or whatever. It looks like you put some time and effort into the maps that you made. This part here where you've stretched up the rock and you've used the rock material here and the sand material and everything like that, it actually looks pretty good, considering you made it yourself. Okay, so these enemies are homing in on me from way too far away. And I mean, I guess they're doing a good job by going around the cliff rather than just falling down. I'll give you that, but they're homing in on me from way too far away. There's no way they should know where I'm at. Okay, I don't care to pick up all this silly metal that they're dropping. I feel like they should be dropping something that makes more sense than metal. That doesn't really make any sense for the zombies dropping metal. Why would a zombie be carrying 3 metal? Um, things like food or something like that would make more sense, maybe. Or, I don't know. But let's go back. What we have here, guys, is to the developer Exo Games. I mean, this video is being made more for you than for anybody else. I'm not trying to tear your game down. I'm trying to give you props. I think your map design is pretty well done, considering you're a solo indie developer. So I like the effort and everything you put into this game. I also want to go ahead and give this indie developer massive props for at least attempting to make a game where he's created the maps and the game himself, and he's not just using a template as he's done with his previous games, where he simply just asset flipped the game and maybe changed a few things inside the kit that he bought. I mean, his games up to this point are direct asset flips that maybe change a thing or two in, but he's uploaded them to Steam and to like the Easy RPG asset kit that comes from the Unreal Engine. He used that to make an asset flip, and then the fun platformer is an asset flip as well. So this is the first game that he's tried to make himself, where he's created the maps, he's created a game, and he's tried to make a game, a fun game himself. So massive props to the developer. You're headed in the right direction. But again, I need to ask you, have you created a game you enjoy playing yourself? Like, be honest with yourself. You don't have to tell me. Just be honest with yourself. Do you enjoy loading up your own game and playing your own game? And if you can say you do, I don't know why you would enjoy this, because this game is very boring and it's not challenging at all. So we got resource gathering in this game. We got lots of enemy zombies and stuff like that. So my recommendation to you, Mr. Developer, is first of all, get somebody to help you with the English grammar. I would do away with all this resource gathering stuff. I know you're trying to, combine an FPS game with like a survival game and resource gathering and all that, but I think you're trying to do too much in this game, and I would cut out all the silly resource gathering and crafting whatever you can craft with it, and because it looks bad right now, the hacking wood from trees just horrible. So here's what I would try to make again. Remember, the most important thing you can the most important thing you can do in any game that you make is make a game that's fun to play. And you're not even close to having that with this game. This game it's probably going to get nothing but negative reviews because A, it's really sloppy. B, things like the English grammar, like I pointed out. Things like targeting a can and picking up a can that you're not even targeting on the table, as I pointed out. The English grammar, as I pointed out. Uh, the coordinates, as I pointed out. The time and date and everything like that not being up in the upper right hand corner and just looking out of place. There's so much that it just looks like it was lazily implemented into this game. But I do give you a lot of props for at least trying to make your own game. So again, don't take this to video. It's just a teardown session. Again, what I want to do is try to help you make a fun game and turn this into a fun game. So my first suggestion is get rid of all the resource gathering, and instead, well, maybe you could have some resource gathering, but get rid of that blur effect when you're taking down trees or whatever. Maybe you can keep that and you can get wood and metal and stuff like that. That's cool. And having these zombies drop metal will actually work. So a lot of what you have already in the game would work for a fun game, in my opinion. So what I would do is turn this into a game where these zombies, obviously you know how to make them home in on me from a far distance once they see me and come and attack me. Also, get rid of this whole hunger and like I'm dying of hunger or whatever now and I'm going to die. Uh, get rid of that for right now. Like maybe add that back in later, but I wouldn't have this hunger and thirst or whatever you have because I don't see any real way to, I don't know. What I'm saying, man, is you need to make this game a fun game to play, and right now it's just not that. So what I would do with this game is I would turn this game into like a tower defense game where it's a 3D tower defense game and you have like you start off on no matter what map you have like you could probably buy this on the Unreal Marketplace. You could buy like a big ball with like clouds inside of it or some big magic looking ball right here, and that's your core. And you're trying to protect the core from enemies. And then have all these zombies, and I mean, they can attack you if they see you, but have them from the start come from all over the map and attack your core. And what you have to do is defend your core at all times. So you're trying to shoot all these zombies coming around from all directions attacking your core. If they kill your core, which is going to have a massive amount of hit points, like, 5,000 hit points or something like that, and you can see the hit points that the core has either above it or in a bar or something like that. Let's go ahead and respawn, right? So yeah, you start off with a core that you're trying to protect. These zombies are, you obviously know how to make them home in on an item. So have them home in on your core, and if they see you, maybe there's a random chance they attack you instead of the core. But have them, their primary mission is to destroy the core because that's how they win the game. And you're trying to defend this core from all these zombies coming from all different directions. And maybe the crafting, maybe you can gather wood and you need metal that they drop to be able to craft like turrets. So the craftables that you can make are turrets that you can place around your core to help protect it. Okay? So I would actually do that rather than trying to make this some open world survival type game. I think if you turned this into a tower defense game, like a 3D tower defense game where you're trying to protect the core from these zombies, it looks like you already know how to make these zombies home in on you instead make them home in on the core. And make it so you can build turrets. Obviously more and more zombies are attacking you, so it's important that you use these resources, the metal from the zombies, and maybe you gather wood from trees all around you, because maybe a turret costs, 15 metal and 10 wood to make. And maybe a different type of turret that shoots cannonballs or whatever takes, more wood and more metal to craft. But then once you craft that, obviously you're going to be trying to gather resources from the zombies and trees. Anytime you get while you're waiting between monsters coming or whatever, you're trying to go to nearest trees and get wood as quickly as you can so you can come up here and build more and more turrets and also upgrade your turrets so that they do more damage, so they have a higher range. And, obviously the turrets are simply shooting any threat that gets within their range. Any zombies that come in towards, where their range or whatever are going to automatically fire at the enemies. You're also going to need more than just these weird-looking zombies. You're going to need to get, different kinds of zombies coming in, because as you play the game more, you're going to want bigger threats. Enemies that have more hit points and do more damage and stuff like that. So, gorillas or, whatever. Bigger things, maybe titans or golems or whatever that come in, and the game progressively gets harder. And so you're trying to last as long as you can before your core gets destroyed. And then with that, you're definitely going to need to add a score implementation. So you get points for every zombie that you kill. You get points based on, you know, how long you survive and how long your core lasts, et cetera, et cetera. And then also, just like most tower defense games, if you haven't ever played a tower defense game, I highly recommend you check out uh, Defense Grid. It's like a 2008 game on Steam, but it's one of the best tower defense games there is. I mean, it's a 2D game, but you'll get the idea of how to make a good tower defense game by looking at Defense Grid on Steam. I'll have a link down to that game down in the description below, but it's easily one of the best tower defense games on Steam, even though it's 15 years old at this point. And that'll give you a good idea of how a good, fun tower defense game can be made. And I think you could make a pretty fun game, you know, pretty good 3D tower defense game with what you got here without a whole lot more work. I think that would be the direction to go, because what you have right here just simply isn't fun, man. You need to be having like something to protect, and you know, zombies coming in, and after zombies, golems come in, and then werewolves, and then, you know, maybe zombie dogs or whatever. Just all kinds of different enemies coming in, and they get progressively harder and harder. The waves get harder and harder as they come in. And start there. That's my recommendation to you, to making this a fun game and turning this game around. Because right now, this game, I think if you're honest with yourself, you'll admit that this game just isn't that much fun to play with what you have. So try to turn this into a fun game. Remember, fun is the most important thing you can make a game. Like, I don't care about the assets. I think you did a good job with all your maps and stuff like that. The water looks great. You've done a great job as far as, you know, again, congratulations and well done on at least attempting to make your own game rather than just, you know, flipping an asset kit as you've done in the past. So, you know, you're improving, man. You're doing better. I just want to help you, you know, turn this game into a fun game to play rather than a boring open world map that just isn't any fun. So yeah, this is me trying to help an indie developer, guys. I'm trying to be constructive here. I'm trying not to just tear him down. I'm trying to tell this developer what he needs to do to turn this game around and turn it into a fun game to play, a game that you guys might want to play. I highly encourage anybody watching this video, if you have other suggestions for this developer, if you agree with me on turning this into a 3D tower defense game, let me know. You know, let him know in the comments below. Also, let me know what your thoughts are. If you have any suggestions for this developer, be sure and put those in the comments below. I want to go ahead and thank you guys for being here and watching this video, and trying to help this developer make a bad game better. Also, guys, give me feedback for what you think I should call this series, where we're trying to be brutally honest about what's wrong with the game, but also tell a developer how he can turn it around into a game. So, like, give me names of, like, videos. What should I call this series? You know, what would you call this series of video where I try to basically turn what would have used to have been a miss video, where I'm trying to help a developer turn that completely around by giving them some feedback. If you have any good suggestions for names for this series of video, definitely let me know what you think those are. And I mean, I have I did start a new series on my channel back in December, I believe, where I made the game The Hits, helping indie titles succeed. I mean, do you think this should fall under my hits video? I think that a game needs to show more promise than what we're seeing here for me to put this under hits, just because of the name Hits itself. But again, I want to try to be constructive. So give me another title for like a game that you would have used to have been a miss that, you know, I'm trying to help turn around into a hit. What should I call it? So thanks so much for watching this video, guys. This has been Zaxter99. We'll see you in the next video, everybody. Take care.